Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your true heel phenom, SP3. Not here for the 3 count with SP3, but for a special review. It was a jam-packed weekend of professional wrestling, and I'm here to review ROH Ring of Honor's biggest pay-per-view of the year, Final Battle 2019. It's been quite the interesting year for Ring of Honor. Losing the Elite at the beginning of the year as they started on their journey and voyage of All Elite Wrestling. They signed a whole bunch of talent from Jeff Cobb to Bandito to PCO to Brody King at the end of last year, 2018. Coming into this year, a lot of them were pegged as the big stars going into the year. Guys like from Mexico like Dragon Lee and Roush. Had big years for ROH. Roush, the current Ring of Honor World Champion, defeating Matt Taven back at Death Before Dishonor just a few months back. And in the main event of tonight's show, he goes against one of the other big signees that we just talked about from Villain Enterprises, the 52-year-old PCO. We'll get to that in a little bit. So, but we're going to start off the show. It was the pre-show started off. You got 1 free hour. I think this was on YouTube as well as Ring of Honor's website, that you got 1 free hour of Final Battle with the pre-show. It kicked off with Silas Young and Josh Woods, the affectionately known as 2 guys, 1 tag, going up against another mixed match tag team, as it was Dalton Castle with New Boys versus Joe Hendry. These are 2 guys that seemed like they were about to feud, but decided to become a tag team. Very eccentric souls, with Joe Hendry and his singing gimmick, Dalton Castle and his boys, and you got the rough and rugged Silas Young and the MMA experience, Josh Woods. Woods and Silas Young have been teaming for the last couple of months. They were currently going into this match 5-0 in tag team competition, and it was pretty much a solid match, listless to say the least. Nothing really happened. In the end, it was Woods hitting a knee strike on Dalton Castle to get the victory for Woods and Young. 2 guys, 1 tag are now 6-0 in tag team competition in Ring of Honor. And I just asked the question after this. I have it big in my notes. Oh my, what the hell happened to Dalton Castle? This is a man that 2 years ago at Final Battle won the Ring of Honor World Championship in the main event. I was there live at Hammerstein Ballroom as he defeated Cody in the main event to become the Ring of Honor World Champion. He had a whole boatload of injuries in 2018, which hampered his Ring of Honor title run. He took a little bit of time off, came back a little bit too early, and it's been a downward spiral ever since then. And Ring of Honor, one of the few stars that they do have, seem to be not giving a hell about him, pretty much. Hey, we move on. So we got Red Titus going one-on-one with Kenny King. These are the 2 men that used to be known as the All Night Express. They've been feuding for the last couple of months. Kenny King looked like he was about to team back up with Red Titus, instead insulting him, insulting his family. And it seemed that Red Titus has finally found a character that fits him. He's tried being a bodybuilder, an oily bodybuilder. He's tried being the love machine again, but that doesn't work when you're over 30 years old and you've been in Ring of Honor for almost a decade now. So, no, he finally found a gimmick that works for him. The babyface family man, his wife and his young child were in the front row. Definitely got him a lot of sympathy from the crowd. And Kenny King is definitely a great shit heel who was healing it up on the family, on the wife of Red Titus and his kid. He had Amy Rose out there who was causing distractions, and in the end it was her distraction combined with a low blow from Kenny King to Red Titus, followed by the Royal Flush, his finishing move. Fireman's carry into basically a sidewalk slam, and he got the victory. I would say this was a solid match. I feel like this rivalry should move on and should continue. It's doing some help for Red Titus. If ROH has a few people that they can count on that's gonna be there and not move up to the big time, I think Red Titus is a guy that they should hitch their wagon to, because he's been there for I think almost 15 years or so. He started off as one of their young guys who was training there, and then he's moved on. He's been an ROH World Tag Team Champion. So he's had some success, but if he's finally going to catch on and he has a character that works, hit your wagon to him. Same thing with Kenny King. And next up, the main event of the pre-show was a horsey battle. And I'm kind of mad that this winded up on the pre-show. I felt like this definitely deserved this spot on the main show. And it was a match between the returning to ROH, I think first time in 14 years, they said, Don Mothe, the Mafia. Then well known from the New York independent scene, a legend of the New York independent wrestling scene, going one-on-one with Jeff Cobb, the Hawaiian juggernaut, that definitely Ring of Honor has dropped the ball on, definitely in the second half of 2019. He is a guy that they should have made a top guy for Ring of Honor, and they've kind of lacked on that definitely in the second half of 2019, which they made kind of a story going into this match. They mentioned how he lost to Matt Taven back at Best in the World in June, and ever since then, he's had a series of losses. He lost the television title to Shane Taylor. He lost big matches against Roush as well as Dragon Lee. So he's coming off a bunch of big losses. He had a successful run in the World Tag League in New Japan, but he came into this match very motivated. This was a horsey fight, if there ever was a horsey fight. This started off with Dan Mothe hitting a pounce on Jeff Cobb, which pretty much brought us off to the races. Jeff Cobb hit a very great deadlift German suplex on Dan Mothe, definitely showing his strength in the match. Dan Mothe tried for the Burning Hammer, but Jeff Cobb would reverse and eventually would end after he countered another couple of ripcord lariats and a Burning Hammer from Dan Mothe into the Tour of the Islands for the victory. And he hit two back-to-back to get the victory over Dan Mothe, showing how much it took to beat Dan Mothe in this one. He definitely got over in a loss. This was definitely a very good match. Definitely a great way to go into the main show for Ring of Honor's Final Battle. And these two men shook hands afterwards, showing the code of honor, and of course also chopped each other to show that mutual respect that they had. And then we went into the main show. The main show started off with an excellent, I would say the best match of the night. It was a tag team match between Villain Enterprises, Marty Scurll and Flip Gordon, going up against Mexa Blood, which is the team of Bandito and Flowmeter. This was Marty Scurll's, as everybody's been talking about online, it's been a huge topic of discussion. Marty Scurll's contract with Ring of Honor expires this month. He only signed through Ring Final Battle and the TV taping for this weekend. So it's very interesting to see Marty Scurll, and nothing of the booking really tells us that he's leaving. Like, it doesn't seem that Ring of Honor is trying to write him off, has a story, has a way of getting him off of the storylines, even has a way of taking the 6-man tag team titles off of him. He's not even scheduled for a title defense on the TV taping, wasn't scheduled for a title defense on this show, but he definitely was in a very great match, in my opinion. This was a tag team match, high spots galore, back and forth, but it also told the story of the teamwork between Marty Scurll and Flip Gordon as they've come together as a tag team over the last couple of months. But it was definitely the more experienced team of Bandito and Flowmeter that got the victory. Flowmeter hitting a 619 onto Flip Gordon, who had Marty Scurll to the back of him, holding on to his waist, and then it was Bandito hitting the 21 plex, which is a slingshot German suplex, onto both Flip and Marty Scurll to get the victory. I would say this match was 4 stars, definitely one of the best matches of the night, and I enjoyed it more than a lot of things on this show. Vincent going one-on-one with Matt Taven. This one was a grudge match. These are the two former members of the Kingdom going up against each other. It was Vincent who turned his back on Matt Taven a couple of weeks ago on Ring of Honor television after a number of weeks of mystery person attacking the Kingdom backstage. It turns out that it was Vincent who took out TK O'Ryan and who has been aiming his target at Matt Taven. He attacked him with his axe and left him bloody, and it led to this matchup. Matt Taven was definitely after revenge, and he was definitely the fan favorite in this match. The Baltimore crowd was definitely on his side in this match. Speaking of the Baltimore crowd, I gotta mention it. You know, if we're gonna talk about the attendance, it did not look like a full house at all from what we saw on pay-per-view. Of course, there was the pictures that came out on social media. I think that Ring of Honor reported that it was about 75% full in the building, which may be a stretch. It may be WrestleMania 3's 93,000 by them saying 75% full. It looked like a 50% full building, but damn, Ring of Honor. 2018 seems like it was so long ago. But yes, it was Vincent going one-on-one with Matt Taven. Matt Taven was a house of fire going into this matchup, but in the end, his addiction for revenge came back to haunt him. He went for the axe. He tried to scar up Vincent, just like Vincent did to him a number of weeks ago on Ring of Honor television. But it was Vincent that caught him with a sliced bread number 2 to get the victory. I would say that the finish was very anticlimactic. I did not like the finish all too much. Vincent posed in front of Matt Taven after the match. Matt Taven looked like he was about to get up in Vincent's face when Bateman, participant in the Top Prospect tournament for Ring of Honor, he came out and attacked Matt Taven, and he seems that he is aligned himself with Vincent. They put one of the woods that hold things down, hold it onto the ankle of Matt Taven, and Vincent hit his ankle with the steel chair, shattering his ankle and taking out Matt Taven. It seems that Vincent and Bateman will be aligned going forward, and it also seems like the Horror King Vincent is going to have his own horror stable in Ring of Honor. Interesting, to say the least, I guess. But I would say this was a solid match. I would say I give it 3 out of 5 stars. Decent match. Definitely better than the next match. Next up, we got Mark Haskins going one-on-one with Bully Ray in a street fight. This match started off with a cool video package covering what's been going on between the two men. Basically, Bully Ray being a bully to Mark Haskins. And it seemed like this was ROH's attempt to put over Mark Haskins as a babyface. But the whole match was just booked to put over Bully Ray. And put over Bully Ray. And put over Bully Ray. And put over Bully Ray. The fact that Bully Ray versus Mark Haskins in 2019 got more time than Mexablood versus Villain Enterprises. That's why ROH is in the state that it is. That is why. That is why. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. It was just a whole bunch of plunder. It was Bully Ray beating the crap out of Mark Haskins for about 90% of the match until, of course, Mark Haskins, the babyface, needed his wife to save him, and she put a cheese grater to Bully Ray's nuts, and then Mark Haskins and his wife put Bully Ray through a table, and then Mark Haskins hit the Stomp Boy. I guess his double stomp is called the Stomp Boy. I don't know. I guess the point of this was to put over Mark Haskins, but you would not have known that by watching the match. You would not. Like, unless you just watched the last 2 to 3 minutes where Mark Haskins went over with the help of his wife, you would have thought this whole match, the whole point was to put over Bully Ray as the biggest monster and the next big thing in professional wrestling. What the hell are you doing, Ring of Honor? What? Like, I'm about to be a father, and I like watching Ring of Honor go through this is like watching a child like go out there and start doing heroin and start skipping school and cheating on their wife. Like, oh God, why did I volunteer to do this? This is hard. Oh, fuck. So yeah, it was like. This match was pretty much every Bully Ray match in ROH that you've seen. He beats someone up. He bullies them. They win, and he thinks that they got over, even though he took 90 to 95% of the match. Get him off the booking team, please. Alright, so yeah, next up we had Alex Shelley going one-on-one with Cabana. This one was really quick, honestly. I felt like this match was like 3 minutes, but it was actually like 6. But it was definitely a very well-worked technical match. Definitely wasn't any hard strikes or anything like that. It was just technical wrestling. Who can outmaneuver the other person between two veterans, Alex Shelley and Cabana. First time ever matchup. This one was actually introduced in the pre-show. It was Alex Shelley who came out and made a challenge to any ROH wrestler that he's never versed before, and Cabana, who was on commentary, was one of those men, and he challenged Cabana. Cabana said he had no idea he was going to wrestle, so he decided to go to the back, get changed, get ready for this match, and it was, like I said, a well-worked match, 6 minutes long. Alex Shelley gets the victory in a kind of surprise victory here, considering that Cabana is the NWA National Heavyweight Champion, and he defends his title this weekend at NWA Into the Fire. It was very interesting that he lost here. So yeah, next up we had Manik going one-on-one with Angelina Love. This one was also another quick match, but probably longer than it needed to be. This match needed to be like 2 to 3 minutes. Literally, Angelina Love did not get like a single kick in. She didn't get a punch in. Manik beat the living crap out of her and Mandy Leon for 6 minutes. 6 minutes longer than it needed to be. Could have been 1 to 2 minutes, and we would have got the point. Manik is a star. She said she has the total package. She has the look. She can obviously work and look intimidating. She plays a monster very well. But the Ring of Honor Woman of Honor division is trash. Trash. Like, this match should have been for the Woman of Honor Championship, because Manik is the woman that they need to just put the title on. But of course, they fired the Woman of Honor champion, so Manik, at least you got a star in the women's division. At least you got one. It's a step up from where you've been, guys. Next up, this is where the show finally picks back up again. It's the Ring of Honor World Television Championship match. This matchup started with a very cool video package featuring Shane Taylor Promotions. They're kind of building up Shane Taylor as this prize fighter, this boxing star. He in the vein, because he has like a whole entourage that brings him to the ring. He has his hype man that holds the title for him, and it's a very cool entrance, I will say. It's very hype, gets you hype. He does look like a fighter and stuff like that. And then he's versing Dragon Lee, or also known as Ryu Lee in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And Dragon Lee and Shane Taylor really went out there and had a very good matchup. It was very back and forth. They played to the size advantage very well. Shane Taylor had the size and power advantage, while Dragon Lee had the speed and the deceptive strength. He picked up and did the Descushinora to Shane Taylor, which I didn't think was possible. He went out there, hit a couple of knee strikes. Shane Taylor is one of his guys from his promotion, tried to bring the chain into the match. Dragon Lee countered that and then used the chain to give him a knee strike, which only got him a 2 count. Desku Fedora also got him a 2 count. He couldn't get the victory. And then finally he took out the rest of Shane Taylor Promotions, and then Dragon Lee hit the knee strike with the knee exposed to get the victory. I would say this and the tag team opener were 2 of the best matches of the night, as well as a match that I'm going to talk about very shortly. But Dragon Lee becomes the new Ring of Honor television champion, and right now him and his brother hold the 2 most prominent singles titles in Ring of Honor, with Roush being the Ring of Honor World Champion. But would he be the champion by the end of the night? Moving on, we had the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships on the line. The 11-time champions, the Briscoes, defending against the team of Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham, or as I like to call them, Lethal Octopus. It was Jonathan Gresham has been on this long, slow burn heel turn for the last couple of months. Him and Jay Lethal weren't seeing eye to eye, with Jonathan Gresham using nefarious ways to get victories, low blows, and the such. They had a very good matchup back at Death Before Dishonor, which Jonathan Gresham did get the victory, and these two men did shake hands after the match. And then it was over the UK tour that Jonathan Gresham's heel turn came to the forefront with Jay Lethal. These two men had singles matches against each of the Briscoes. Jonathan Gresham getting the victory over Jay Briscoe, while Jay Lethal had Mark Briscoe. Jonathan Gresham tried to get involved. He tried to bring a chair into the match, and Jay Lethal took the chair from him and used it on the Briscoes and turned heel for the first time in a few years, I think since 2016 and his rivalry with the Bullet Club and Adam Cole. Jay Lethal was now heel in Ring of Honor. He was all clean shaved in this match. He coming out together with the Octopus, with his Octopus mask, Jonathan Gresham versus the Briscoes. All of Sandy Fort, Delaware, and the Briscoe clan were in the audience in Baltimore, since Baltimore is not that far from Sandy Fort, and it was a very, very heated, intense matchup here. The Briscoes always know how to bring it at Final Battle, always try their best to have the best match of the night, especially at ROH's biggest event of the year, just like they did last year in 2018 with Ladder War against the Young Bucks and the SCU. This one was one of the best matches of the night. Once again, you had Jay Lethal, who's arguably ROH's MVP of the last 5 to 6 to 7 years. Ever since he's come back from Impact Wrestling, he has been out there and he's been one of the premier performers for Ring of Honor. And Jonathan Gresham, one of the best technical wrestlers in the business today. These four men went out there and had a very intense tag team matchup. It was very physical as well. Jay Lethal still sporting the cast from his wrist injury that kept him out of action for the last couple of weeks. He even hit a one-hand lethal injection, doing the headstand with one hand. That was amazing. That was probably my favorite spot of the night. And then Jonathan Gresham hitting the shooting star press. I thought the match was over, but it only got a 2 count. And then in the end, it was Nefarious Ways coming to the forefront. It was Jay Lethal with a roll-up with a handful of tights that got the victory for Jonathan Gresham and Jay Lethal, the new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. And I give this match also 4 stars out of 5. I'm sorry I didn't rate all the matches. I'm only rating the ones that I remember being decent to good. Because if Bully Ray and Mark Haskins do not want to know what my rating would be. Because it would be fuck you for the 16 minutes that I lost. And I don't like cursing on this channel, but Jonathan also might have to bleep me out. If he doesn't, there you go. Anywho, moving on to our main event of the evening. And my God, I didn't know it would get as bad as it did for Bully Ray, but it did. With 2 performers that I usually have a lot of good to say about. It was Roush going one-on-one with PCO in the main event. That out of nowhere, not build up the whole night, the last couple of weeks, never knew this, but apparently this match is a Friday the 13th massacre match, which means no disqualification, no count out, anything goes, weapons are legal, and it was just a plunder match. It was just a whole bunch of plunder. It was, you throw me off of there, you do this. Like, I heard a lot of criticism about Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega and it not being like the best world work match. But that match had a story. It escalated. It told a whole bunch of stories that were teased, a whole bunch of weapons that were already teased in the weeks building up to that on Dynamite. Even something from like WWE, TLC this weekend, like them randomly putting a ladder match between the Revival and the New Day. The Revival and the New Day have been feuding for the last couple of months. So this being the blow off of everything, them being in a ladder match mixes it up and makes it a brand new matchup. Gives us something new to add to the equation. I like that addition of a stipulation. This match didn't need the stipulation. Or if you're going to add the stipulation, should have been added weeks ago. I should have known about it before the show started, but I didn't, and it just didn't make any sense to me. It was just a whole bunch of plunder. It was just very sloppy. PCO, God bless his soul, he does crazy shit, but his crazy shit should be kept to a minimum. That's why he's perfect for tag team wrestling with Brody King, with the 6-man tag team titles, with Villain Enterprises. That's his great role. I understand they wanted to tell the story of him finally winning the big one, 52 years old, the oldest champion in Ring of Honor history. Bravo to him. Congratulations for him. But that match was trash. That's not how you get viewers back, Ring of Honor. That's not how you bring people back. And then 52 years old, world champion on the forefront in a time that everybody's trying to be youth-based. Yes, AEW has a 49-year-old AEW world champion in La Champion, Chris Jericho. But Chris Jericho is a Wrestler of the Year candidate. There's a difference between that and PCO. PCO is great as a special attraction. He's a guy that can be a main eventer, but in small doses. You do not put the title on him going into a new era for Ring of Honor. What does that say for the new era? We just had Bully Ray have one of the longest matches of the night. Then you have a plunder match that suits Bully Ray in the main event match. What the hell are you doing, Ring of Honor? What the hell are you doing? Yeah, that match gets 1 star out of 5. I mean, I will give the show wasn't as bad as my rants on the Bully Ray match and the main event make it seem. Like I said before, the tag team title match between the Briscoes and Lethal Octopus was definitely a very good matchup. The ROH World Television Championship matchup between Shane Taylor and Dragon Lee was a very good matchup. The tag opener was great in my eyes. Mexa Bloods versus Villain Enterprises. I really liked Vincent versus Matt Taven, even though the finish was a little bit off. And I love the way they put over Maria Manik as a star in Ring of Honor. But my God, between the Bully Ray putting himself over Mark Haskins, even in a loss, and the main event being that sloppy. And I like PCO. I like Roush. Roush is a talented guy. Why did you have Roush be a babyface for the last couple of months if he was just going to be a heel in this match? He worked the whole match as a heel, and he's been a babyface ever since he came into Ring of Honor. Just makes no sense. Because of how the night ended, the Ring of Honor Final Battle gets 5 out of 10 from SP3. I'm not going to suggest anyone to watch it. If you do want to watch anything from the show, I say the tag opener, the television title match, and the tag team title match, and then save yourself a whole lot of time and a headache. It is me, your true heel phenom SP3. This has been the Ring of Honor Final Battle 2019 review. Ring of Honor, I told you I'm not going to watch you in 2020. And this pay-per-view did nothing to change that.